Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these holly leaf earrings. Now in the past, I showed you how to make this style of a leaf here, and I've used this style leaf in all different ways. This is a bracelet that I've made with the leaves. I've also done a necklace, and you can also do earrings with these leaves. And the same goes for these leaves here. They can be used the same way that I've used these leaves. Now another idea that I've had for these leaves is to make them into a slave bracelet. So if you were to connect 3 of them together, 3 leaves, just like this, and you had the 3rd leaf here, and at the top I would have my ring, my chain ring, and then I would have my bracelet chain going right here. And I think instead of having the berries right here on top of the leaves, I think I would figure out how to do a really big cluster of the berries in the center where I connect the leaves together. So this is just some of the ideas that I've had for these leaves. There's so many things you can do with them. Here is the list of materials you will need to make these holly earrings. You will need 3 feet of either Fireline or monofilament, and I'm using an 8-pound in both of these, so it's up to you, whatever you want to use, monofilament or Fireline. If you use monofilament, you don't have to use needles, but if you use Fireline, you do have to use needles. Now, these earrings here I made with monofilament, and I really love how they turned out because they are so stiff and they keep the natural shape of the leaf. It's like they're made with wire. They turned out really nice. But I did struggle making them because I used 11-0 czech seed beads, and they're very small. So if you're going to use the monofilament, 8-pound monofilament, I recommend that you use a Toho seed bead because they are slightly larger. These are 11-0s, and if you don't have 11-0s in Tohos, you can use 10-0 czech seed beads. They just need to be bigger than the 11-0s because it was a little bit of a struggle to work with the 11-0 czech. So again, I recommend if you use the monofilament to use 10-0 seed beads. You're also going to need 6 4mm red round beads, and I'm using these red pearls. I actually found these at Walmart, and they were dirt cheap. They were 50 cents a strand on clearance, so I grabbed as many as I could. You're also going to need 10-0 seed beads or 11-0s. Now, like I said, you can use 10-0s in czech, but don't use 11-0s in czech because they're too small. And these here are 11-0s in Toho, and these work just fine. And I actually bought these at Michael's, so you can probably find them at your local Michael's too. You're also going to need 2 ear wires and 2 size 10 beading needles. So this is the list of materials. Remember, I put everything down there in the description bar, the material list and also tips and other stuff like that, so make sure you check that out. I went ahead and I threaded both of my needles, and I made sure that the tail is the same length on both sides, so I don't want to thread on one side when I'm working. And right here, what I have is a leaf that I made with 8-0 seed beads and 6mm rounds. Now, I made this larger because I wanted a pendant, and I didn't want to do a necklace with a whole bunch of leaves. I just wanted a simple pendant to go along with my earrings. So what I did is I used larger seed beads to make it heavier and larger round beads also to make it heavier, because these earrings are super light. They're really light. So to make it heavier, I just used 8-0 seed beads and 6mm rounds, and I got a larger leaf for a pendant. So I'm just going to set this aside, and the first thing I'm going to do, well, actually I need to show you. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the stem here of our leaf, and then I'm going to do the center vein, and then I'm going to make this part down here. Okay? So to make the stem, we're going to need 8 seed beads so our earring lays properly on our ear wire. Okay, and I think I just picked up 8. Okay, I lost track. Okay, I just got 8. Now I always go back and I check and count to make sure that I picked up the right amount, because if you don't do that, if you pick up too many or you accidentally pick up one, it's a problem. So I always go back and count. Okay, so now I have to pick up 16 seed beads here for the center stem. So I just picked up my 8, and now I'm picking up 16. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so I'm just gonna count these again. I have 5, 10, 15, and 16, okay? So I'm just going to lay this down like this, and here you can see my needle. I'm going to take my other needle now, and I'm going to pass through all of these seed beads in the same direction. Not the opposite, but the same, okay? So I'm just going to pass through all 16 of them, bring my needle through. I'm going to put my needles together, make sure they are even, and I'm going to slide all 16 of these seed beads down. Okay, so now I have my stem and my center vein of my leaf. Okay, so now I'm going to make this part of my leaf right here. So to do that, I'm going to separate my needles, and I'm going to pick up 4 seed beads on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, slide those down. Now I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads, slide them down, then I'm going to take my other needle and pass through them in the same direction. Okay, make sure they are even and slide them down. Okay, so now I have what looks like this. So now I did it before, let me see if I could do it again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this seed bead down, and I need to pass both of my needles through this one seed bead right here. Now in the past I did 2 at one time and it was fine. Let me see if I could do it again. I did 2 needles at a time. Okay, so yeah, it worked again. Now if you're using monofilament, you can probably do them together, but if you're using a smaller seed bead, maybe a Mayuki, you might have to do 1 needle at a time. But just to save time, I did both. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this down. And you don't want to pull this too tight, because I found if you pull it too tight, it gets a little hard to pass back through your center vein, because we are going to be working off the center vein. Okay, so now I have my center vein, my stem, and this is the point right here of my leaf. So now I have to reposition my needles so I can add more beads. So right now, this is where my tails are exiting. I'm going to take the needle on this side, and I'm going to pass through these 2 seed beads. Now I'm going to hold this between my fingers so it doesn't loosen up, and pull that through. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay? Take my other needle and pass through these 2 seed beads. Just like that, and pull this through. Okay. Now I'm ready to pick up some beads. I'm going to show you what this looks like. So, we just did, I'm getting tangled up. We just did this part here, and now I'm going to add these seed beads here. So I have to pick up 4 seed beads and make this point on my leaf. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them, slide them down. Okay, I'm going to take my fingernail and I'm going to slide this 1 bead up, and then I'm going to go through the 3rd one, like that. And again, I'm going to hold this between my fingers so it doesn't loosen up. Okay. Now if you have a gap, like I do right now, where you can see your thread, just hold on to this seed bead, the point, and pull your thread tight, and it'll tighten it up. Okay, so now I have what looks like this. So I just made the point of my leaf right here. So now I have to pick up these 5 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down 2 seed beads in my stem, and then I'm going to go down these ones. Okay, so going back to my working piece, I just picked up my 5. I'm going to go through these 2 here in my stem, and since I'm using a needle, I will be able to also pass through these 2. Now if you're doing monofilament, you might have to do these 2, pull the monofilament all the way through, and then these 2. But because I'm doing a needle, I can do it like this. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that thread through, and now we have our leaf forming more. Okay, So exiting out of here, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to pass through, let me turn this, these two seed beads right here, okay, that we just added. And I'm also going to go through these two. Since I'm using a needle, I can do this. Okay, so I'm going to go through these 4 seed beads, and I'm going to hold this between my fingers. Okay, slowly pull it, and pull it tight, and this is what we have. So now I have to repeat this side. Just like I did this side, I have to do the same thing over there. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to flip this over and do it over here. So I have to pick up, exiting out of these 2 seed beads right here. Remember, I repositioned it. I have to pick up 4 seed beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide them down. Okay. I'm going to skip this one right here, and I'm going to go through this one. Okay, so hold that between your fingers and pull your needle through. Okay, so mine's tight enough, so that's what I got. So now I have to copy this side. So exiting out of this bead, I picked up 5 seed beads, and then I went through these 2. So I'm going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, exiting out of there, I'm going to go through these 2, and again, since I have the needle, I'm going to pass through the 2 below it. So I'm actually going through 4. Okay, I need to make sure this loop doesn't get wrapped around my stem, and I'm pulling this through. Okay, now I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to pass my needle through these 2, and also through these 2, just like that. And I'm going to pull my needle through. Okay, I'm just going to pull both sides tight, and now we have the top of our leaf done. So now we're going to go to the next row of our leaf, and this means we have to increase our seed beads. Okay, so I'm going to make this part here and this part. So again, just like I did earlier, I'm going to pick up 4 seed beads. I'm going to slide all of them down, and then I'm going to pass, or pull this one away and pass through this seed bead here. Okay, so I'm going through the 3rd one. I'm going to hold this between my fingers and pull the needle through. Okay, and I need to make sure this is tight. So you can hold on to the seed bead and pull this thread and tighten it up. Okay, so this is where I'm going to increase my seed beads. Now looking back at the complete one, down here I picked up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here is where I'm at right now. So this time I'm going to pick up 6. So I have 4 here, and then I have 2 here. So that's 6 seed beads. So what it's doing when we're increasing the seed beads, it's spreading our leaf out, and it's making it wider up here and more narrow down here. So it looks like a natural leaf. Okay, so exiting out of here, I'm going to pick up 6 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double check. Yep, I have 6. Okay. Slide that down. Now, with this part here, I went through 2 seed beads, but this time, in this section of my leaf, I'm going to go through 3. But I have to make sure that I skip 1 seed bead right here, because when I skip that seed bead, that's what gives a curve to our leaf. It makes it look natural. Okay? So I'm going to show you. So I just picked up my seed beads. Right here is the seed bead I'm going to skip. The one that's after these 2. So I'm skipping that one. Okay, and I'm going to pass through these 3 right here. So just like that. So see, I'm skipping over that one, and I'm going through these 3. Okay, so pull my needle through. Now, something you might have a problem with when using monofilaments is this point, these points on the sides. What they'll do is they'll flip in like that, and what you'll have to do is you'll have to just flip it over and try to get it to go out and pull this thread straight. And once you get it to stick out straight, then you know it's in the right direction. Because it's monofilament and it's stiff, it has this like coiling reaction, and it wants to go one way. So you just need to flip it and make it go the correct way so it lays flat. Okay? So now that I have that done, what I'm going to do is turn the leaf to the side, and I'm going to pass through these 3 seed beads right here. Okay, so through this vein in the leaf, pull the needle through, pull it tight. Now I'm going to sew up through the side here and reposition my needle. So I'm going to go through these 2 and through these 2. Okay, and pull that thread through. Pull it tight, and this is what I have. Now I'm going to flip it over, because again, I'm right-handed, and I'm going to repeat the same thing I just did here on the other side. So I'm going to pick up, exiting out of here, I'll show you, exiting out right here, I'm going to pick up 4 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide them down, hold this up. I'm going to move this one on my way, I'm skipping over that one, and I'm going to pass through this one here. So again, I'm going to hold that between my fingers and pull my needle through, and now I have this. Okay, so now I have to copy this side over here. So remember, I picked up 6 seed beads right here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do the same thing I did on this side. I'm going to pass through these 3 seed beads and skip over this one. So through these 3, I'm passing through. Okay, I'm going to turn this, and I have to pass through these 3 right here in the vein. Now careful you don't confuse your sides. So as you can see, I have this thread over here. So if I were to pass this needle through this vein, I would be working on the side that I've already done. So this is exiting out here. That's a reminder that we've already done that side. So that means I have to go in this direction because I need this thread to exit out on this side. So I have to make sure that my threads stay on their own sides. Okay, so pulling that through, again, we skip that little bead right there. I'm going to pull this tight, and now I have to sew through these 2 here. Okay, those 2, and I'm also going to go through these 2 up here. And again, if you're doing monofilament, you can't do all 4 at one time because your monofilament isn't as stiff as a needle, but it is stiff. So you'll have to do 2 at a time. Okay, so exiting out there, I'm passing through these 4. I'm going to pull this needle through all the way and pull it tight. Okay, so I'm just going to go to both sides and make sure that my threads are tight. Okay, and this is what I have done so far. So now I'm going to go back to this leaf and show you. We did the point here on the leaf. We did this side, this side, this side, and this side. So now we're up here, and again we will be increasing our seed beads. So I'm going to make this point here of my leaf. So I'm going to pick up 4 seed beads again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide these down. Pick this up. I'm moving this one down. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to pass through this seed bead right here. And I'm going to hold this between my fingers. Okay? And again, this is a little loose, so I'm going to hold this, pull this thread, and tighten that up. Okay, so now this is where we're going to increase our seed beads again. So I'm going to show you the leaf. So if I go back down here where we started, we had 5 seed beads. We have 3 here and 2 here. Then we increased to 6. 4 here and 2 here. Now we're going to increase to 7. So I have 5 here in this vein and 2 here. So we're going to pick up 7 seed beads now. Okay, so exiting out right there, I'm going to pick up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, I'm going to slide these down so I don't lose any. Now on this one, we have 2 seed beads here in this vein. We skipped one. We have 3 seed beads in this vein. Skipped one. And this time I'm going to do 3 seed beads again in this vein. Okay, so we have to make sure that we skip this seed bead, just like we did earlier. So here you could see that we skipped that one because you could see the little whites of our thread. And now I'm going to skip this one. So I'm going to go through these three here. So I'm going to go just like this and sew through these three. Okay, just like that. So there's one seed bead right there we are skipping over, and that's what causes our leaf to have a nice curve to it. Okay, so pulling that down, and see how this is flipping? It's because you need to flip it out so it lays properly. Make sure you pull it straight. Okay, so this is what our leaf looks like right now. Now I'm going to turn this to the side so I can pass through these 4 seed beads. Okay, pull thread through. Turning this, I have to reposition so we can add more of our seed beads. So I'm going to go through these 2 seed beads and through these 2 right here. So I'm going through 4. Okay, pulling this through, pulling it tight. This is what we have. Again, I'm going to flip this over because I like to work with my right hand. And I'm going to repeat the things I already did on this side to this side. So again, I'm going to pick up my 4 seed beads and make that point on my leaf. Slide this down. You can see that I'm exiting right there. I'm skipping over this seed bead and I'm going to pass through this one, just like that. And again, I like to hold this between my fingers. And if it's not tight enough, you can hold on to the seed bead on the end and pull this thread to tighten it up. Okay, so remember we increased to 7 seed beads on this side. 2 there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a total of 7. Okay, so I'm going to do 7 again. 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. Did I get 7? Yeah, I got 7. Okay. So slide those down. I have to pass through these 3, just like I did on that side. So I'm going to go through these 3 seed beads and skip over that one right there. Okay, so pulling my needle through, make sure you don't catch that stem on your leaf. I now have this. I'm going to turn this to the side because I need to pass through these 4 seed beads right here. Okay, going through these 4, pull that tight. Now I'm going to reposition my needle by sewing through these 2 and through these 2. Those 4 seed beads in the side. Okay, pull this through. I got caught. Okay, pull this tight. And this is what we have. So, this is how much we've completed. So now we only have this part and this part to do of our leaf. And then after that, we have to add our berries. And the berries is the last thing we're going to do. So, this time we're going to increase on the sides where our point is at on our leaf. So all this time we've been doing 4 seed beads and then going back to the third one. 4 seed beads, going back to the third. 4, going back to the third to make our point. But this time I'm going to do 5 seed beads. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to go through our 4th bead, and then we're going to pick up 6 seed beads here. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So I'm going to make a point with 5 seed beads this time, not 4. So I have 5 on my needle, sliding them down. Okay? I'm going to hold it like this. I'm going to move the 5th one out of my way, and I'm going to go through the 4th one. Just like that. And again, I like to hold this between my fingers and pull it through. Okay, so again, looking back at this, we just made our point right here of our leaf, and now I have to pick up 6 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Oh, and in this one, we're also skipping a bead right here at the top of our stem. We're skipping that one. So I'm picking up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seed beads. Sliding them down. Now, our stem, looking back at this, I'll flip this over. Well, I guess you can't see it on this side. Looking back at this, we had 2 here, we skipped 1, we did 3, we skipped 1, we did 3. Now what we're going to do is 4. We're going to pass through 4 seed beads in our stem, and we're going to skip that 1 again right there. Okay? So, right here is the one we're skipping, that one. So we're going to pass through 4 seed beads. So taking my needle, I'm going to go through these 4. So there's this one right here that we are skipping. Okay? I'm going to hold this and pass through. So that's what it looks like. This is the one we're skipping. I'm turning this to the side, and I'm going to pass through these 5 seed beads. Okay, just like that. Pulling a thread through. I'm now going to go up the side here. I have to go through these 3. Okay. So I'm going through these 3. Pulling it tight. Then I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to pass through these 6 right there, through those 6 seed beads. Okay, and then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go up through these 4 right there and pull that tight. So now we have this side done. So now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Okay. So again, we're increasing the point. We're not doing 4, so I'm going to do 5 in the very top corner. So I have 5 seed beads. I'm sliding them down. I'm exiting right there. I'm moving this one out of the way, and I'm going to pass through the 4th one, just like that. Hold it between the fingers and pull it down. So we have this. Now I'm going to pick up 6 seed beads. Okay, 6. Looking at the back of this, I have to pass through 4 seed beads. So I'm going to go through this one here. Okay, so I'm skipping that one right there at the base of our stem. Skipping that one, and I'm going through these 4. Okay, so there's one right here. We're skipping that one, and we're skipping this one, and we're just going through the 4 right there. I hope you can see this. Okay, and I'm pulling my needle through. Pulling it tight, and I'll show you again. Right here's the one we're skipping. We're going through these 4, and we're skipping this one. So now I have to sew through this. So I'm going to go through this side vein over here. And remember, we have our thread exiting out on this side. So we need this needle to exit out on this side of our stem. So make sure you stay to the side that you're supposed to be on. Okay, so pulling that through, just like that. I'm going to sew up through these 3 side beads, these 3 here, and then I'm going to go through these 6, those 6 there, pull that through, and then I'm going to go up this side of my stem, just like that, pull that through. Okay, now I'm going to pull both sides of my threads straight. Okay, now the front of your flower is the side that's curved like this. So this is the, or leaf, I mean, I said flower. This is the back, because you can see how these here are popping out. Now because I did thread, I noticed that we have some seed beads that are going in the wrong direction. So I have one here that's popping out the back. This one's going in the wrong direction. This one's out the back, and that one's out the back. So this one right here, to make our leaf look better, that needs to pop out the other side. Okay, so I just pushed it and I fixed it. Okay, now again, I did this with thread so you could see that it's very soft and flexible. It's not like the one with the monofilament. I do prefer to do this with monofilament, but to save time, I'm using the needles because you can make it faster with the needles than you can the monofilament. Okay, so this is what our leaf looks like right now. Now I need to reposition my needles so I can pick up my berries. So I'm going to take one of my needles and pass through 4 seed beads on the other side of my stem. So I'm exiting out here and I'm passing through these 4. Just like that, like a little U-turn. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to do the same thing with this needle, passing through these 4. Just like that. Okay, again, I'm going to pull both of these tight. Okay. And there's our leaf. And again, I really do feel like the monofilament has a better shape, because if you look at this, it's kind of shaped weird. It's not so not so matchy-matchy on both sides. It's kind of different. So anyways, now we're going to add our berries, but I have to add this one little seed bead right here before we do that. So I'm taking my needles, I'm separating them. Okay, this is what it looks like. This is the front of our leaf, so we need this one seed bead to be on the front, so make sure that you have the front of your leaf. And again, this is the front of the leaf, this is the back, because I have these 1, 2, 3 seed beads poking at the back. Okay, so this is the top. So I'm picking up one seed bead and I'm crisscrossing my needles through it. Bringing this seed bead down, and I'll show you what it looks like up close. Okay, bringing it down. It's going to sit right there on my leaf. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up one pearl on each side, slide those down, then I'm going to pick up my third pearl and I'm going to crisscross through it and bring this pearl down. Okay, so this is what I have. Now to anchor this in place, what I'm going to do, I pull this, okay, make sure it's flat like that. Now I'm going to take this thread over here and I'll show you on one that's finished. On this one here, I took the thread that's on this side and I skipped over this one seed bead and I went through these 4. And I did the same thing over here, okay? And that's how I got my berries to sit right. So, straighten up my threads here. Okay. So right here the thread's exiting out here. Focus camera. Okay, I'm skipping over this bead. There's 5 here. I'm skipping over this first one. I'm going to go through these 4. So I'm going to turn this and pass through these. Oops, skipped one. Through these 4 right here. Okay, that's what it looks like. Now I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Skipping over this one right here, just like I did on that side, and I'm going to pass through these 4. Lift it up with a fingernail if you have a hard time passing through it. I'm just sewing through these 4, just like that, and I'm going to pull this needle through. Now I'm going to pull both sides tight, make sure this is laying right. Okay, and this is what we have. This is our leaf. So if I tilt it this way, you could see that I have this bead I'm skipping and this one, and I'm just going through those 4 because you can see my thread path and these 4. Okay, So now we have completed the leaf, but we just have to tie our half hitch knots. So this is what your leaf should look like. Now I'm going to show you how to tie the half hitch knots, but I think I'm going to tie the knots on the pendant because you can better see my thread. Okay, so for the pendant I did monofilament, and whenever I use monofilament I don't use needles because the monofilament is pretty stiff and it's too hard to get the monofilament to go through the needle. Okay, so I'm going to tie knots, and I like to tie 3 knots on each side. So I tie a knot here, I pass through these 4, tie a knot there, pass through those 4, tie a knot there, pass through these 4, and then I snip my thread here, and I repeat the same thing on this side. So there is 3 strings. See them right there? In the shape of a triangle. And what I do is I take the monofilament or needle, whatever I'm using, and I pass through this little triangle of string, okay? Like that. And I'm catching that thread that's right there on the side. And what I do is I go through this loop twice, tying my knot, okay, and bring that knot down. Okay, pull it tight. And then I just pass through these here. And make sure that you pull this tight before you tie your knot. I should have told you that, but I didn't. Make sure that you pull both sides tight and then tie your knots. Okay, so I just passed through those 2. I'm going to pass through these 2 here. So I just went through those 4, and I'll tie another knot here. So through that little triangle of string, through this loop twice, and pull the knot down. So that's it. Tying knots is very easy for this. Okay, so just keep going tying knots, and again I tie 3 knots each side. 1 here, 1 there, 1 there, and same on this thing side over here. And then when I get to the end, after I pass through 4 beads, I trim my thread right there on both sides. Okay, so keep going, tie your knots, and you're done. So this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I do want to remind you, if you're looking for more winter or Christmas jewelry to make, I have 2 videos you might be interested in if you haven't seen them before. It is my snowflake ring video and my snowflake necklace video. I will leave both links to both the ring and the necklace video down there in the description bar, so make sure you check that out. So please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and like me on Facebook. And don't forget to share pictures of the jewelry I've made from my videos on my Facebook page. And you can now follow me on Pinterest. So thanks for watching.